Hello, everyone.
Hello.
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 Thank you to all of you.
Hello, everyone.
Warm welcome. So it's 1 minute past 1, and we already have quite some participants. This is why, let's simply go ahead and start, if okay with all of us. So as I said, a warm welcome to you all. My name is Annegret Braus, and I'm coordinating Green Compete at the International Training Center, and I'm going to be your moderator for today's session. I'm really, really happy to see so many people joining us from around the globe to celebrate International Youth Day today. It's so important to celebrate and to enjoy this day because it reminds us that today's most pressing issues, and we have quite a number of them, can be tackled even better through the fresh and innovative ideas of the young generation. So the need to support their ideas has become even more true after this week's report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC. I'm sure many of you have been aware of that one. It said that global average temperature rise is already higher than 1 degree, and it's even accelerating faster than what we had thought before. Additionally, the global 1.5 degree goal that we had targeted as part of the Paris Agreement might actually already be out of sight. So these shocking facts really call for more support for the many bright solutions out there by young ecopreneurs that really tackle environmental challenges. On a positive note, this is exactly what the session is about today. It's about the ideas and the contributions of the young generation to contribute to a global green transition. So I'm not going to go deeper into the topic as ITC's Executive Director, Ms. Pamela Cook-Hamilton, has prepared a video message to welcome all of us. So before we watch her message, just a brief overview of today's session. The next 1.5 hours will have 2 parts. First, we will have a panel discussion with 4 excellent speakers, namely young entrepreneurs from Ghana, Rwanda, Peru, and Uganda. I'm sure that their green success stories will be a source of inspiration for all of us today. And in case you have questions to them, please do go ahead and post them here in the chat. So after the panel discussion, the second part will start, and we will officially launch ITC's Youth Ecopreneur Awards. Through the awards, ITC and our partners, we aim to activate green entrepreneurship by young people, and we want to provide them a platform for them to really go to scale. So with this overview of the session, let's listen to the welcome remarks of Pamela Cook-Hamilton, our Executive Director.
Jenny, we don't have sound. I think you need to reshare with sound. Thank you.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, depending on where you are connecting from today. I'm happy to see so many young and energetic faces joining us from around the globe to celebrate International Youth Day. This day is important. It reminds us that today's most pressing issues will not be achieved without the meaningful participation of young people. I myself have a 20-year-old son, so I know exactly what you need. The shock of COVID-19 and the increasing impacts of climate change have posed additional hurdles to achieve a green and inclusive transition. It remains a defining challenge of our time. However, it also is the biggest opportunity we have as individuals and as a global community to shape history. Whether you're young or simply young at heart, like me, we all have to use our creativity and courage to think big about our future and bring solutions for climate change. Now is the time to act. Let's work together to drive the green transition. Let's find ways to champion new approaches, develop local and international eco-business solutions, and generate a sustainable impact. Young people hold the keys to success. The International Trade Center works closely with young entrepreneurs around the world. At ITC, we help to brainstorm and nurture their ideas. We help reinforce support systems and communities to create the right business environment. Innovative solutions take time and financial resources to go from concept to reality. Many young entrepreneurs have a hard time growing their businesses. Some may require mentoring, financial support, or access to networks. Others may need just an audience and a platform to exchange good practices. It's about getting the right tools and resources for your business. With that, I'm excited to invite you to apply to the first edition of ITC's Youth Ecopreneur Awards, which we're launching today. The awards highlight the incredible achievements by young entrepreneurs to bring the green economy to life in least developed and emerging economies. With the collaboration of strong partners worldwide, we have created a package of support for young ecopreneurs to succeed in building enterprises for the green transition. This will include skills enhancement through training, mentorship programs tailored to your needs, and access to finance. We believe that youth entrepreneurs are the driving force to build back better, to build forward better and greener. And we want to create a stage and sounding board for these green solutions. Or to put it the Jamaican way, we want to take youth entrepreneurship to the world. Today, I call on you, if you're a young ecopreneur working on business solutions that promote renewable energy, energy efficiency, waste reduction, or ensure efficient water use, please apply to our awards. By joining the Youth Ecopreneur Awards, you will have the opportunity to propel your business to the next level and increase the visibility of your business. This is an opportunity for you to get yourself known and compete in the international market. Most importantly, by applying for these awards, you become part of ITC's global community of youth entrepreneurs where you can connect, collaborate, and inspire each other. We've heard before that there is no planet B. By investing in young people, we're investing in the future of our planet. We want you to bring your innovative and creative ideas to life. ITC supports you on your journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our executive director for having sent these inspiring messages and recorded them already before the session today. So with this, our panel today will discuss the different ways that youth-led businesses around the world contribute to preserving the natural environment and how they can accelerate the green economic transition for the benefit also of local communities. So with this, I'm really glad to introduce you now to our distinguished panel speakers. First, we have Douglas Karugaba Baguma, who is the CEO and co-founder of Innovex in Uganda with its Remote, a B2B IoT cloud platform linking solar energy suppliers, post-sales maintenance, and mobile payments. The idea of Innovex came to Douglas actually when he was conducting energy audits in Uganda's health centers, and he saw that even though they had solar installations, most had broken down due to lack of maintenance. So Douglas, we're very curious to learn more about your story. Second, we have Sofia Rubio Chavez, the founder of Kiwi in Peru. Kiwi is a business seeking harmony between man and nature for the sustainable extraction of resources from protected natural areas, conscious consumption, and a shorter marketing chain between the forest and the end consumer. Thank you for introducing us later on how your company sources products such as oils and cosmetics in line with ecological requirements, Sophia. We're also delighted to have Rosette Muhoza on our panel. She is the co-founder of My Green Home in Rwanda. Rosette, you said that you were following your dreams when you created the social enterprise that reinvents plastic waste recycling by creating construction materials and fertilizers from plastic waste. We're all ears to learn more. And finally, I'm happy to introduce you to Prince Agbata, the CEO and founder of a company also active in the area of recycling. Koliba Recycling Services is a tech-driven company in Ghana. It offers incentives to users for their recycling efforts. And next to this, of course, with his many years of experience in waste management and plastics, Prince, he is also the president of Plastic Recyclers Association of Ghana. So to the four of you, thank you very much for being here today and for sharing your stories with us. A warm welcome, of course, also goes to our audience watching this panel from around the globe. After the discussion with our speakers, there will be time for a short Q&A. So please do feel free to post your questions in the chat function, and we will review them and yeah, bring them to the speakers. So with this, let's directly start our discussion. And let me start out by asking all of our speakers today to share with us some of the issues that they see on the ground in the countries where they come from, and the solution that your companies provide to respond to these challenges. So this is a question to all of the speakers. Let me first turn to Douglas for this one, and then followed by Sophia, Rosette, and Prince.
Yes, thanks for that wonderful introduction. I hope you can hear me. Okay, so I'm Douglas, and I lead the team at Innovex. We are proudly helping solar companies fix problems around operation and maintenance of installations. It's a known fact that as Africa, we host 99% of the world's population without access to electricity. This is close to 500 million people. And in the context of Uganda, we have an electricity access rate of just 26%, leaving 33 million Ugandans without access to electricity. So this, of course, created a huge opportunity for solar energy. But for the past 10 years, despite the investments and all the effort that has been put in the industry, we haven't realized that much traction, that much impact, mostly because of various challenges, one of which is, of course, the fact that systems fail a few months just after installation. And this has continuously frustrated the growth of the industry. As earlier said, I learned of this problem when I was consulted by a World Bank funded project. You can imagine moving to a hospital that is off-grid with only the solar system supplying electricity to power wards, maternity wards where ladies give birth, to power equipment for labs, blood tests. And the system is just not working. And simply because no one is looking after it. Of course, because of these reasons, very many hospitals are left with a huge pile of equipment, sometimes donated equipment, that is not used because there's just no electricity. And for Uganda, when you look at our national development plan, we only plan to have 50% of Ugandans connected to electricity in 2030. That's about 8 years from now. So we felt that it was important for us to take care of the solar industry because it gives access to electricity to these people today as compared for them to wait out these 8 to 10 years. This cuts across a number of countries, so this is not a problem unique to Uganda. When you look at our neighbors, Kenya, Tanzania, none of them have access rates greater than 60%. Kenya, which is doing well, has about 60% access, but still a huge population is left without access to electricity. And of course, not forgetting the current drive to move green. Because of the climate crisis, of course, we don't expect that as Africa, we'll get electrified the same way that the industrialized nations did. Because when you look at nations such as Japan that get most of their electricity from burning fossil fuels, it's causing most of the problems that we're having in the climate crisis today. So as Africa, we need a different path, and we feel that renewable energy, specifically solar energy, has a huge role to play in electrifying Africa. Thank you.
Thanks, Douglas. It's really inspiring to hear that your solution really addresses many problems at the same time. Problems in relation to health, energy access, pollution, etc. So yeah, very interesting to hear the challenges also later on that you face in order to really make this a success, because you said you're already active also in different countries.
Thank you. Yes.
With this, yeah, over to Sophia.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Yeah, well, I'm Sophia Rubio. Thank you for this invitation. Kiwi, it's a company that I founded almost 10 years ago. I'm a biologist, and I grew up in the Amazon region of Peru, in the rainforest. And for me, it was everything about nature and the people who live in and close to this nature. So I grew up there, and I passed my childhood there. So after that, of course, I need to do something about that, no, to protect it. So I thought many ways of approaching to reach this point of harmony between nature, people, and money, because money it is a big thing when you want to do conservation or when you want to do everything. So we don't, before, like 10 years ago or even before, we were looking at everything separate. So the nature here, the job opportunities here, and government here. So, but all of that is a big system, but we were not really seen in that way. So for me, market, and it's a big machine. So we all are market, you, me, here, there, everywhere. And if we all are together looking for a same mission, through the market we can finally find whatever we want. So that's why I created a company, Kiwi, and Kiwi works with doing products with added value locally. At the beginning, it was mostly local market. So giving the opportunity to people to participate of the conservation of nature while they are purchasing a product. So that's the thing with Kiwi. And yeah, so we sell products from national parks, mainly from different places in Peru, connecting people who have already products or who wants to, and we are articulating, and we also are collectors of nuts, wild nuts in the jungle. So thank you for inviting me, and yeah.
Thanks a lot, Sophia. When you speak, one can really feel how invested you are in conservation of the rainforest, etc. So yeah, very, very happy to have you here. With this, over to Rosette, our third speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you for a very good introduction. That was really huge. And as you said earlier, I'm Rosette Mhoza, and I'm a co-founder at My Green Home. My Green Home was initially launched, like the idea was initially launched in 2017 at a competition. And after that, we had back and forth of not getting money and the grants that were promised. So we started operations in 2018. That's when we started the process of now prototyping the idea and everything. And this was initially born out of a school idea. It was me and my colleague who were still at the college, and we had a challenge on how we can, improve environmental sustainability in different aspects. So after that, we said, how about we just take on this challenge and we make it something bigger that can also benefit the community. So that's how we started. And then afterwards, we had a competition going on, then we applied, and afterwards we got to win the grand prize. So I personally am, I always tell people that it's really cliche to talk about West, because really as the word West, no one really cares about West, but we're in a world where we've really caused more harm than we found the world or the environment we're in. And one of the solutions is really to understand the concept of circular economy. So there's always, I don't know if you guys know that energy does not die in a way. So basically everything we put into the world does not really vanish, as you can see. So it stays there. So it's about us to find solutions and ways on how we can produce other things that are really beneficial. So when we started, it was really hard for both me and my colleague, because we didn't have expertise specifically in recycling or anything regarding environment. We just had a background in business, but the zeal and that urge of bringing a solution that is going to really help the community, that pushed us to do research and also seek like can I say, like, mentorship and everything. So with the challenges that we have now, which I think it's a global challenge, we have tons and tons of plastic that really end up in dump site and also in oceans, and a portion of it that is recycled is about like 6%. So the rest, actually, you can imagine where it goes, and this, on a very large scale or on in a long run, this comes back to affect human beings, aquatic life, name it as you can understand. So this is a very huge challenge. When explaining, I always say I'm not going to put it in a context of Rwanda. I'm just going to say it in a context that is really large. But to be specific and narrow everything, Rwanda in 2008, it banned plastic, basically polythene bag, which was actually one of like a success story. And it's one of the things that really put Rwanda on the map with, bringing up initiative and everything. But what it didn't maybe realize is just that we still have other forms of plastic. We still have single-use plastic, and these are all plastic that really end up in dump sites and also in oceans. So after that, we had policies. We had the policy of banning that plastic, but later on, this challenge went on. And as I speak of now, Rwanda has a plan of building green cities, which has already embarked on. But this plastic has been a challenge. So a challenge in ways that every time they collect plastics, they have where they're stocked in a dump site. And you can even imagine people who are living around the area. So there's that pollution, there's that also. There's a way also the soil gets the soil degrades. So technically the issue was around, now that we have single-use plastics that we have somewhere collected, then what? So that's when we came in as My Green Home. We said, how about now we look for a solution where we can have the plastic recycled, but also bring in a solution where if it's recycled, then it's gonna, be a solution to the green cities or the people who are trying to build green jobs. And we started that, and we started prototyping. I remember the first time we prototyped, it was really hard, and with many prototypes and everything, that's when we got like a stable product. Yeah. So one of the challenge is that we don't have sites, and another thing is maybe awareness on what to do with waste, and also changing the lifestyle, which is also something that it's going to really take a long time. So if you have a plastic and you have a glass, do you think of using a glass more than a plastic? Yeah. So what is the aftermath of the plastic? So there's also that awareness, and also there's policies. And I think the government, which I think is on the way of creating policies and putting measures on how to control that, there's also still the gaps. And also building infrastructure like companies that can do recycling, there's still that huge gap. And what our contribution as the youth was like to bring My Green Home, which we also in the future feel like we are gonna fill in the gaps. Yeah, that's basically it.
Thanks a lot, Rosette. It's really interesting to see how you also really make this theoretical concept of a circular economy, how it works in practice. So that's really exciting to see, and curious to hear more about this later on in the chat and in the discussion. So with this one, over to Prince.
Hello, everyone. My name is Prince, and I'm the CEO of Coliba. I'm here in Ghana. So I'm very happy to be here talking about plastic waste. Coliba is a low-tech recycling company that are actually putting recycling services on people's fingertip through the use of a mobile phone, so people can really load deposit centers across the country and request for a pickup, and all of these plastics come to our recycling facility where it's finally recycled. Just to give a gist of what makes us unique, when we came into the sector, massively we had Chinese and Lebanese mostly focus on, the water punches. If you're from Africa, there's a lot of water punches, but globally was really recycling the PET bottles. So our company, 95% of our materials are PET bottles, where we process them and supply to manufacturers who do food grade materials. So we want to close the loop. And currently we process about 150 metric tons of the bottles, and then we export to the UK, where our partners use them for new bottles. And our focus is to recycle, invest in a bottle-to-bottle company that will stay local. But until that investment is done, we have gone from just collecting the bottles to processing it into cold washed product, flakes, and sell to food grade manufacturers in the UK. So the plastic waste is a huge problem. We are creating jobs across the value chain, currently serving over 15,000 communities. We're working with a value chain of women waste pickers. Most of them are not recognized, not formal, and we're formalizing their role through our platform, giving them access to PPE, safety wears, and more importantly, helping them build credit. So through the platform, they bring materials to our centers and they are building credit. And part of the next phase is to connect with a bank, Fidelity Bank, to allow waste pickers to have access to credit and recognition. So we're excited about what we do. We're excited that the youths are very much involved. We're excited that we are still working on increasing. When we came, recycling rate was 2%. Currently, the recycling rates for plastic is 10%. And I think our goal is by 2030, we should be doing about 82% recycling rate. It's a big ambition, and that drives me as the president of the Recycling Association here in Ghana to see how we can build capacities of various recyclers in the center, in the space. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Prince. It's really inspiring to hear also the targets that you have set for yourself, and also to see the history from the 2% that you mentioned where you've come from, and that you've all the way increased this. So yeah, very inspiring. Thank you very much for sharing. I would like to ask a first question now to Douglas. Again, coming back to the renewable energy and energy access. I think earlier you already explained well why renewable energy or solar energy is a solution for the energy access issue in Uganda. But I also want to ask you, how did you make sure that also local communities are on board with your idea?
Thank you. Actually, that's a very good question, because one of the common challenges that very many local solutions face is they're never taken up. So they never get traction, simply remain an idea, and no one is taking up the solution. So, of course, early on, to make sure that this was taken up by consumers and users, we tried to use the existing networks. We didn't try to build everything entirely new. So what we did is, we of course partnered initially with an existing solar company first to prototype our idea, making sure that each and every feature we're building was addressing a problem the solar company was facing. So it was important for us, to get a development partner as we're prototyping this. And it's a common mistake very many entrepreneurs make. And of course, later on, we didn't build a new distribution structure. We simply leveraged the existing structure. So all the solar companies have portfolio customers. So we simply used that existing network, and that is how we managed to reach out to the end users. So for it, of course, to remain sustainable as it is today, it was important that we iterated and worked with the solar companies. Even today, we still improve our product, but still the improvements we make have to be a result of feedback that is given by our customer and also the end user. So that's really how we've created that sort of ownership of the product. Even us expanding to new countries, for example, moving to Kenya, it was, a recommendation by a customer. The customer asked us to go to Kenya because they had this specific problem that we're addressing better than anyone else on the market. So because most of our activity is customer-driven, customer-centric, we found it easy for our solution to be accepted.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because it really speaks to how, as a company, you can't be only focused on yourself and your operations, etc., but the interaction with what surrounds you is actually one of the key ingredients to make you successful. Very, very good insights. Maybe with that, I would like to ask a question to Sophia and to Douglas, to you again, because both of you are not, let's say, traditional or entrepreneurs by education, let's say. Sophia, you're a biologist. Douglas, you're an engineer. And so what's the story behind your decision to become an entrepreneur? Maybe, Sophia, would you like to go first?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I had to learn a lot to be an entrepreneur. I have no idea at the beginning what was I doing. And it was not easy, because scientific brain and all this physics, biology, chemistry, and it doesn't, like, it's not useful for business. And you have to learn, and for me, well, I had to learn how to dress, even that, because in the field work, and biology is usually, we look like hippies, dirty hippies going around and following frogs. But but I had to learn a lot, and it was not the easy path. But as I said before, in my region, in the rainforest region, and in everywhere, everything works as a system, and economics and politics and environmental issues affect all the system. So for me was kind of an adventure, and trying to understand all this system connected. So yeah, because, for example, if something is cheap in the market, it affects another part on the forest. So it's cheap for people and in the market price, but it's really expensive for the planet. So it's this balance between all these areas, no? And before, like 10 years ago, and even before, market and business people were like one type, and conservation people was the other, and they were always opposite, always fighting, like, oh, these hippies, and then, oh, these sharks. And the idea for me was, okay, let's put all together and let's do something for the forest, because everyone is cutting down and we are losing it. So that's more or less what draws me.
For me, we actually didn't set out to start a business. We never thought that we'd need to have a business. We started Innovex as a group of friends out of university. And, initially we're operating, and we only registered a business because we started receiving checks from customers. We needed to, get a tax identification number. That's what pushed us to register a business. Otherwise, initially, this is something we did as young university graduates. It was a hobby. It's something that we initially did part-time. But as we progressed, the scale of the problem sucked us in, I must say. Slowly by slowly, we committed to, solving this problem. And I think being an engineer, because, engineers, you never leave a problem until it's done, until it's solved. So it kept us sucking in, and we found at the end of the day, we had to quit our jobs and do this full time. And since then, it's the rest is history, I must say. And so being an engineer, of course, like Sophia said, the couple of limitations. Though we started off as a big team, we were actually a team of 4 co-founders. This helped a lot because all of us had diversity in skills. And interesting enough, early in the days of Innovex, we were able to hire a few people. So this complemented a lot of the skills that we didn't have as engineers. Though for a business like ours, where the core solution is a technology-related product, it was very important that the core team was a very highly skilled engineering team. So that helped. Unlike any other sort of business that may not have a technology solution, so that worked as a strength for us. But as we grow as a business, we of course have diversified. Personally, I later on trained in business. I have trained, first online, later on through a number of networks, programs that are sponsored by the International Trade Commission, programs sponsored by USAID, all training in business. So I must say, I've actually not practiced as an engineer. Even at the beginning of Innovex, I was the business lead. So this was, meeting the clients, selling the product, and it is what I do up to today. Of course, with a team at the same time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sophia and Douglas. Interesting, I think what both connects the two of you is really the dedication to the issue that you're trying to solve. So really, I feel like with open eyes, you saw the problem that is out there, and you really tried to think hard, okay, how can we solve it? I think that's maybe also a very nice lesson learned for anybody who wants to start their own business, to really think about, okay, what's the issue that my business is trying to solve, and how can I develop the solution for that? Sophia, one more question to you, because one key idea in your business is also that you want to move away from the idea of nature as resources, right? Of food and waste and energy as resources. You already talked about this earlier a little bit. Can you tell us how your company is really promoting that in practice?
Yeah, no, it is more part of the philosophy behind. It is more like we as human beings, we used to see ourselves in the top of the pyramid, so in the top of the world, like a big species, like the best species in the world. But and everything else is for us. We can use it as a resource, and we can use it for our benefit. But that way of seeing the world, life, nature, for me, it's when you, not because I am a biologist, but when you go a little bit more deeper in nature and in system, that way of thinking, it doesn't make sense. So that's why resources is a word, and I usually do that. Say that resource is because it is useful for us, but itself, it can be a tree or wood, or a tree or a seed or an animal, but it's not a resource when it's living outside there. It becomes a resource when we are using it in our favor, no? So that's the principles of Kiwi. Kiwi wants to promote people seeing the system in a big thing, and seeing the animals, plants, seeds, and whatever we have from it as part of the same thing. No, that's why it's very important for us, like all these system point of view. I don't know if I answer your question.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Sophia. It's this idea of resources, I think we see this a lot also when we talk about human resources, right? Within any traditional company, we see our co-workers as human resources. And there again, we see how this idea is really in our thinking. And it's a big task that you put for yourself to change this thinking in a sense. Huh?
Yeah, I think we are doing little by little everywhere, in every small or big system, no, as you said. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a related question on this to Prince, because again, we're talking about resources. Your company is also addressing resources, addressing waste in a sense. So, and it's again also related to communities, so the people. And how does your company, you already mentioned earlier, you were working together with different communities to source waste, etc. How does your company overall contribute to this type of community development and also public health in that sense?
Thanks. So like I said, when we came into the sector, the recycling rate was around 2%. We've been able to increase that to about 10% recycling rate. We've been able to bring together the recyclers together through what we call the Plastic Recyclers Association of Ghana. And there has been an enormous partnership. And I think more importantly, there is a huge community of waste pickers who were initially recycling a 2% recycling rate. So before we came in, 98% of the materials were going to the landfill where it's burnt and incinerated. So you saw a huge amount of community of waste pickers in a country where there is no segregation and no recycling at all. These waste pickers will be digging through the piles of waste, sourcing them out. Some have been in the business for over 17 years and even 15 years, recycling and picking up waste and selling to middlemen who later on do not offer better incentive because the waste are polluted, and so there's no better incentive for it. But there's consistency in picking. And so when we came in, what we're doing differently is to look at fair wage instead of minimum wage. And when I talk about fair wage, so we're working with organizations like Repurpose Global, Acumen, I'm an Acumen fellow. And so how do we ensure that we don't just offer the normal minimum wage, which has been set by the Labor Commission, but we ask ourselves, what is the value chain for every waste picker from morning to dark? And how much would they need that will be sufficient for them to do their work? And so our network of waste pickers, 102 of them, we ensure that they're on a life insurance premium. We're ensuring that they have access to a fair wage because they are our collector. And so there's a sense of responsibility from our end. We ensure they have PPEs and safety wears, and more importantly, bring dignity to their work, because they are seen as scavengers, and more often when they dig into people's waste piles, for those who move from home to home, their outlook is a condescending outlook. And so we're changing that narrative by ensuring that they identify as pickers and they have the right appropriate word. And when that happens, they have access to our platform, allows them to meet requests. And when that happens, they have access to non-polluted materials, and the wages are much more fair and better. And they are more educated and sanitized in their role. And more importantly, have access to credit, which is the next project that we are building. So this is how we are building a community of waste pickers in a value chain. We're ensuring there are some communities where we set up a deposit center and we are running out of plastic, because our focus has been on this type of plastic. And so we said, okay, if there's no more of these plastics, then it's allowed to bring any other plastics that are within the value chain. So that is an example of a community that is readying itself because there's an incentive in waste, and then they know there's a reward if they can segregate their waste and don't have to throw it away. And this also address public health issues in terms of ensuring that our waters and oceans are free of plastics. The fishing communities always go in, come back with a net full of plastics, and some of these plastics are sold back to us in our community centers that are on the shore. And we are addressing the problem one step at a time.
It's interesting because comparing to Sophia's story, what you're saying, Prince, is that you want people to see the waste that they pick as a resource, right? It's not in a sense of moving away from the word resource, but it's actually saying, okay, let's call waste a resource. Let's call it something that we can create value from. So that's maybe the other side of that conversation. And also interesting that you mentioned, of course, the role of skills and the role of knowledge, of education, and in order to also make such a value chain if you want to work. And with that, actually, I want to turn to Rosette. You're also in the recycling sector, and transforming plastic into building materials, I assume, is also a task where you require a lot of skills, a lot of knowledge, etc. So how do you go about finding information, experts, and maybe also the capital in order to make your business work?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question, and as entrepreneurs, basically people who are in our sector, recycling sector, it's really hard, like to get capital. And speaking from our experience as a startup, it has really been around applying for grants, going for competition, and also reaching out to different organizations that are doing kind of the same work. But when it comes to getting loans, equity, and also getting support from maybe different organizations, like even government organization, it's a very, very long process, because first of all, this is something that is new, and everything that is new, there's a way people really hold back. And the fact that also there's also still a connotation where if a young person like me has a business idea, it's gonna require me a lot of work to do to make the other person understand than someone who is really experienced. So there's also that challenge. But I know for sure here in Rwanda, to be specific, they're basically removing all the barriers. They're encouraging youth to start up business that can really, be solutions to some of the challenges. But still, since we're still on that journey, it's really hard. So for my green home, we've had a couple of grants. We've had a couple of grants that were really like a setback or like a push to really do what we do. But also we've had also organizations reach out to us, and they show interest in what we do, and they can also offer like expertise, training, and any other support, regardless of the money and everything. So that also is something that really gave us like validation that we're on a very right path on what we do. People, even though everyone doesn't hear us or see what we do, but there's a couple of people who can really understand what we do. So I can really say it has been mostly around grants, and we had a collaboration with the government of Rwanda. There's an institute that is in charge of environment, that is called REMA. So they also gave us like a go ahead to start working, because you also need that certification that you can be able to start recycling and everything. But there's still a couple of challenges, and since we're still a startup and everything, we hope that along the journey there's also solutions to everything. But when it comes to grants and expertise, when it comes to funding, so it's been grants mainly and competitions.
Yeah, thank you for also sharing that story. I think it's very interesting also in the context of today, given that we're launching also an award here, a Youth Ecopreneur Award, where also there's a small grant in it. So yeah, and you saying that this has helped your company actually to succeed. I hope that inspires many people also to join this this competition that we'll launch later on. And I also wanted just to say, Rosette, I can very much relate to your comment about looking young and not having the gray hair. I think that is often, also something for women that often appears. And we'll ask later
I
on.
mean, I think with time, this will also be like, this is just like a myth or like connotation around the youth and everything. But with time, I know this evolution and change, but we still suffer that, that is still there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I asked later on a question, especially also to you and to Sophia in relation to your role as women. But maybe before that, let me first ask also Rosette, you and Prince, how has tackling these problems in relation to plastic and reducing waste also inspired action by actors in your network? So do you see, for instance, that your friends are much more aware of waste issues? Or do you see that other people have started similar businesses? Have you interacted with government? How have you perceived your role in this?
Maybe let me go first. To be honest, this is a very long journey. And I, as a person and a colleague that started a company, it cannot be just overnight. So I mean, it's gonna take massive energy, collaboration, joining hands and everything. But when it comes to the influence that I've made and my company, I can say there's pretty much an influence, because if you can have a call from a friend saying like, yo, I have plastic at my home, can you please come carry it? So they also feel like, yo, I'm also contributing to what? To environmental sustainability. But also I know for sure there's a couple of businesses that are really born just because of hearing a story, and they also want to contribute. Last time, like a month ago, I had a call with a friend who really wanted to kind of start a similar business. And he was saying that I had an idea when I was at school, but I did not know that there's someone who is doing the same idea, and what can you really advise me on this? So we keep on seeing people who are now saying, okay, if they really started a business in this sector, then how about also we start it? How about also we join hands? And when it comes to habits and consumption habits, it's going to take a long journey and also time. Because if you can really imagine our population, and also when it comes to the affordability of plastics are more affordable than glasses. So just the mindset that if I'm done using plastic, then what next? That's also something that people really need to understand. And as I said, it's going to take like some time. And also, we also have, I think, with time to have metrics in place to measure if people are really understanding what it means to recycle something, or what it means to have waste turned into something like beautiful. I always tell my friend that if you have waste and you see it in a way that it's not waste, but also it can be turned into wealth. You see, that's something that really will take time. And as I said earlier, this is a concept that even in Europe, everywhere, they're really adopting circular economy. But I would really, I'll be the happiest if we see a lot of youth actually coming in to join, not like, big organization or the government, but, youth coming in, because we are the backbone of literally everything. We are the voice and everything. And also the fact that we have energy and creativity. This is something I always tell people, that we still have a very huge space and seat and gap for you guys to just come in and fill in and bring your creative ideas. So it's going to take time, but we've seen a couple of changes. Yeah.
Thank you, Rosette. Prince, can you relate to this also in your experience, how you've interacted with other people? Any inspiring stories that also similar to what Rosette has shared?
Yeah, so I graduated on top of my class, first class, computer science, was working with Google as a software engineer, and then I'm here in the recycling space. It's a long journey down there. Came into the space when it was pretty young back in 2015, but there's a huge kind of disruption now. We're seeing young people coming into the space. It was mostly people in retired and old people that were in the space, highly not educated. I think that is a good sign. We're seeing young people coming into the space. There is even a huge amount of diaspora people coming in and trying to start up a recycling company, business. And we need all the concentrated effort. We need the association, I would say about 70% are under the age of 35, and they're running huge amount of companies, various type of plastics, from making plastic chairs to making awesome products from plastics. These are young people and they are gaining grants and all that. But there's a little bit of a concern for me. It's good to have that kind of huge community change, huge involvement from the youth, which is good circular economy. But it's also very important that they know why they want to get into the circular economy business, into the waste management business. I've also seen some people going in because it's just business for them. And often they come in with huge amounts of money. They don't understand the sector. They enter in, they burn cash, and it's very bad. And there are a lot of dishonesty issues, transparency issues, because people don't really understand the problem. At least, I mean, I've been in the sector for 7 years. I do know that it will take 5 years of your life to build something sustainable. If your business cannot sustain after 5 years, then it means it cannot be even, it can go further than that. So you realize that some people started with us and they had to die out because they lost track of the traction. So I'll call on everybody here listening to us. If you want to go into the waste management, green business space, go in, but have a conviction, have something that drives you. It should be purpose over profit, because oftentimes there may not be profit. And yes, there's so much opportunity. The circular economy, there are billions of investment from developing countries coming into the space. There's so much opportunity out there, but also we should be willing to have that resilience to endure. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Prince, for this really call for action. I think that's really motivating also for all the people that we have in the audience. Even I feel like, wow, this is something that we should all work on. I'm interested also in what this means for women, and for that I'm looking specifically at Sophia, also as Rosette. What is the role of women in pushing for the green transition, and are there any peculiarities maybe that you would like to highlight in relation to where you're coming from, to your own countries or continents? Maybe Sophia, I first turn to you with this question.
Yeah, well, it is, and it is everywhere now, and that's why you are asking this, because women has a different position to start, and we have to know that, because otherwise we're going to be a little bit lost. So the table is not like this, it's like this. So if you like overall in business is a old sometimes it's an old way of thinking industry, and sometimes you're going to face this approach, so really masculine and focus, no? But it's nice, it's interesting being a woman in this world of business. It's really challenging and yeah, and it's really nice to find another woman. And that happened to me when I was starting. I found I was in a training course some months there, and it was just for women, and I found there not just network, I found their friends, and that's the women can do. We can make networks, but based on friendship and based on trust. And it's really interesting when there are more women entrepreneurs around you, you support each other. And it was really important for me at the beginning. Well, every time, but at the beginning it was really, really key. So yeah, that must be the feminine side of business, is this all support around and all this, yeah, like hoorah, you can do it. And that is one of the most important things for me. Yeah,
very interesting, the female side of doing business. Rosette, did you share similar experiences, or was it entirely the opposite? Would be very curious to hear your perspective on that.
Sorry, I think I missed her point at the beginning, but I'm always, I don't know, I have mixed feelings when I see a question that is basically like, as a woman entrepreneur, what are some of the challenges? But the fact that this is something that is global, and we all know that there's we've faced patriarchal in so many ways. Then has to come that question. But I haven't had someone asking a guy that, as a boy, have you faced this challenge? You know, but it's fine. It's really fine because as you said, we've really proven that we can also do what a man can do. And every time this question comes in, that's where I'm like, okay, do we still have this mindset where, like, if I'm a lady doing a business, then that means things are going to go south, or things are going to fail? Or it's just like they want to know how the world has really progressed in understanding that women can also do what a man can do. So I'm just there in the middle. But I as a lady who really started a business when I was still at school, I've met a couple of challenges. The fact that I'm, as I said earlier, the youth, but also, I mean, we live in an era, or we live in communities where if you're a woman, it's not that only, it's not business. If I help you, then I want, more. I want, to get to know you, which I, as a person also with my values, has really helped me so much. And I know for sure, if we know ourselves, we know our challenges, we also set boundaries and values that are going to really help us and be like, advocate for us, that can also help. But also, speaking of that, I have a really big privilege that I always think, be thankful every day that I live in a country where Rwanda really has put more emphasis and energy and all the resources to make sure that a woman, a lady, is out there and performing and also being supported and heard. So I'm having that also at the back of the mind, and that confidence that if I say a word, it's going to be heard. It might not be heard like the way my brother can say it, but I'm sure it's going to be heard. And if it's not heard, I'll fight for it. I'll go back and remind you. And also the fact that, I know my potential, So the fact that there's also this, all over the world, there are organizations, there are programs that are put in place to fight for women's rights. That's also confidence. But yeah, there's the challenges now and then, which I always tell the youth to not really give up on, those challenges. Because if you had something really going on smoothly, at some point it will be boring. But also those challenges, these are like fuel that really pushes us to do more and wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to beat this challenge. If another one comes in, I'll also beat it like the way I did last time. So I, as a woman, have really faced some, but the fact that I also have like values, I have also support from family, friends also, who give you validation that you're on the right track. Yeah, I'm able to say, this is something I'm going to focus on. This is not something I'm going to focus on. So yeah. But it's still there. It's still there as women, as youth. There's a lot of myth around everything. When you also talk about like starting a business, what are the expertise that you have? And when also it comes in gender, it's also insultive and emotional. Because if it's something general for youth, you're like, you know what? Yeah, I can, try to defend. But when it comes to a point where you're going to be denied a service, or you're going to be asked more just because you're a female or a lady, that's when it's really like, this is hard for me. But yeah, I've had a couple of challenges, but I, as lady who can fight and everything, and also the government also putting place in policies that really helped much.
I think that you talked about confidence, Rosette, and I feel both with both Sophia, Rosette, you two, I can really feel that confidence. But of course, also, I don't want to say, okay, this is the female side of things, but also with our other panelists, we also see that type of confidence that any entrepreneur really needs to have in order to overcome also the challenges that may come up on the way. Maybe with this, I would like to ask one question to all of you, to the 4 panelists, and then open up to questions from the audience. So my last question to all of you is actually really in relation to confidence, in relation to the challenges that you have faced. So I'm wondering, what was one of the biggest challenges that you have faced, and how did you, what was key for you to overcome such a challenge? Maybe very briefly from each of the 4 of you. Douglas, would you like to start?
Oh, thank you. Our biggest challenge really has been, I could say it's a myth. It's a myth that technology cannot be developed in Africa. And worst, having a technology solution stroke product and being able to raise money. So this really has been one of our biggest challenges. And over time, each time we participate in a competition, we write a grant application, it's usually a key question that is asked. But how we managed to overcome this very early on as we're starting, we ensured that we had a very strong relationship with our university. That's Makerere University. It's a very prominent university. We built a very strong connection, and our initial investors, the friends, were actually lecturers. So these were people with PhDs who were doctors. So that gave most of our clients and future partners a lot of confidence. And of course, as a company that is building technology, we took advantage of the fact that we were in Africa and addressing African challenges. And we've used this specific attribute as an advantage to differentiate ourselves from very many competitors. If you're local in the same market as the customers, it's very easy for you to have a quick turnaround time, very easy for you to access customers, and we have used that as a huge advantage. And I must say, Innovex, in the specific challenge that we're addressing with operation and maintenance, we have had the best traction, the most traction compared to any other solution that is addressing the same challenge. And of course, in raising money, there's a lot of funding these days that is going towards African-oriented, African-centric innovators. And sometimes these days grants actually specify the very specific that they need something that is founded by people in Africa, operating in Africa, sometimes 100%. And this has been a huge advantage for us that we've, finally received an opportunity to compete on the global stage.
Thanks a lot, Douglas. That was very, very interesting answer to also, especially how you've overcome that. Maybe I want to ask just the other 3 panelists to keep your answer concise, just in the interest of time. Thank you. And who would like to go next? Sophia, can I ask you maybe?
Yeah, it's short. I had time to think before because of Douglas. I think it was challenging for us. The part of the business that in charge of money, because my background, it's from all this strategy and develop of the products, but the part of the business when you are not expert in that side, it was difficult for us. And because of, and this is another one, it's because we are selling products and responsible with nature and products that brings nature to you. this is a concept that people outside market don't understand and don't pay for yet, or at least in Peru. Is a small portion of people who understand what is behind and why, and if, for example, a net carbon or zero carbon footprint, nobody or not many people is paying that in Peru yet. So we were really located in Peru and focused on the market in Peru, and that was not really easy because we had to educate the market, and educating the market is expensive. So yeah, so that's the two points that we needed to highlight and work in it. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Sophia. I'm looking at Prince. Any final challenge that you would like to mention that you really overcame, and there was a key thing for you in order to overcome that? Anything you would like to mention here? You're on mute.
Oh, okay. Hi. So I think for me, it's about finding myself as an entrepreneur. I mean, diverting from an engineer, software engineer, into an entrepreneur. It was really a big change for me, and so it's about finding myself. I got so deep into the process that I lost my social life, and I think this is something we have to get to. Most entrepreneurs to really understand. I think one way I've done that is to move out of the dancing hall and come to the balcony, because the dance floor can be really busy with quite a lot of people and noise. And you need to learn how to move out of the dance hall and get to the balcony and look at the beauty of nature and everything. So it's about sustaining the self that says. And I think that is the key thing that got me out, and understanding that work life should be kept work separately, and there is also a social life out there. And I think today being an International Youth Day, every young person should have fun, but also enjoy the most and also make impact. Thanks.
That was a very human answer. Thanks a lot, Prince, for that one. Rosette, I'll give the final word to you for the last answer in this as part of this panel. Any solution that you would like to highlight on how you have overcome a specific challenge?
All right. Okay, one thing I mention every day, and I always tell people, it's not going to be an easy one, but I mean, first off, if you, there's a saying, I'm not recalling very well. Okay. Let me actually recall it. So I think if you know the why, you always know the how.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you know the why, like if you know why you're doing that, somehow, somewhere you feel. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. And I think actually
Yes.
that this is a very nice transition also to the next part of the session, because it's really about the how, because you mentioned, okay, if you know the why, you know the how. And what we're trying to also do as part of the session is to provide a small means on how to do the how. So thank you for this actually very, very great transition. And with that, let me, I'm not closing the session. I'm handing over to the next part of the session. And I'm handing over in this regard to Claire, given the time. If there are questions, I saw that some questions have been asked in the audience. Let's try to do that even after, so that we just ensure that there is enough time for the rest of the session to go ahead. So with that, let me hand over to Claire, and to have her launch the ITC's Youth Ecopreneur Awards.
Thanks, Annegret, and thanks so much to all the amazing speakers. It's really been a pleasure hearing your wise words of wisdom for such youth. You guys have great perspective already. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy days to be with us for this event on International Youth Day. Big round of applause to all of our speakers. If you guys can throw up a high five or a thumbs up or a clap in the chat, we'd love to see it. So I have the pleasure of launching ITC's Youth Ecopreneur Awards. This is a really big deal for us. We've been working super hard to come up with an awards that can really target youth working across 3 sectors. So before we get into it, we're going to show you a quick teaser video to get you super excited to jumpstart these Ecopreneur Awards and to really get you motivated to apply. So Jenny, over to you to start the video.
Green transition is the defining challenge of our time and the biggest opportunity we have. We can all play a role, and so do youth. Youth lead the way to tackle the most pressing issues about the earth and its resources: waste, water, and energy. ITC's Youth Ecopreneur Awards invites youth entrepreneurs to showcase local solutions responding to global challenges. The awards give a stage to young entrepreneurs from least developed and emerging economies, also a space to connect, collaborate, and inspire one another. The awards will support the green startups of today to shape a sustainable and inclusive economy of tomorrow. ITC's Youth Ecopreneur Awards, the first awards of its kind, activating youth entrepreneurship in the green economy.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for that, Jenny. So yeah, as you guys have seen from that video, this is really about spurring the green economy, spurring youth to take part in the green transition. As I've mentioned, we've been working super hard at ITC to bring together some amazing partners to put together a great package of prizes. So we just want to take this opportunity to formally launch these awards, to open the application. So you'll see in front of you on the screen, you now have the Apply Now button where you can directly click and already submit your application. Jenny's showing you now what the application form looks like, and hopefully one of my colleagues can share the link in the chat so you can just boom, go right to it. It's a very short application form. We've tried to make it as concise as possible. One of the things I really want to stress is that these awards are for youth entrepreneurs in developing countries. So we have a country list that you can see that shows all those countries that you can apply from. You must be a registered business. That is really important. We know that unfortunately, this will be an exclusionary criteria for some youth entrepreneurs, but it's really important for us to be able to assess businesses that already are registered, that are, legally represented, and that have traction in the market. And of course, as you can see there, it must be run by a young person. We define a youth as someone who is under 35 years of age. We show an exact cutoff date. So although you might still be young at heart, there is a cutoff date. So sorry for anyone that doesn't include. And of course, you must be within our 3 areas, our 3 sectors. So renewable energy, waste, and water. So please keep in mind that we are specifically targeting youth entrepreneurs working in those 3 sectors. So again, you can see on your screen the 3 sectors and a bit of information to further get insight on what those sectors are will be shown on a later page. And then at the bottom, you can see our amazing partners. Our amazing timeline first. So the timeline, obviously, we start today. The applications close on September 15th. So don't wait till the last minute. Please, 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 we invite you all to apply today. The application form is short, but it will take you a bit of time. So don't wait until the last minute. Don't wait until it's too late. Then the next step in the process is that we will do an analysis of the businesses, and a short list will be sent on to an amazing technical committee. A technical committee is for each of these different categories. These are experts from the likes of Cambridge to Green Tech Capital, to Sidley Austin, to Andy. So really, really people who know their stuff. So my point to you is come correct. Make sure your application form demonstrates what you're doing in the best light possible. So yes, now we can scroll down to our amazing partners. We're working with so many amazing organizations to bring this awards to life and to make sure that the technical support that the winners can access is really, really top notch. So maybe Jenny, if we can go to prizes and eligibility. Great. So while this page is loading, just want to stress that we are really looking for businesses that need that push to scale up. One of the key prizes is that there's 15,000 USD on the line across 3 categories. So we know that that can mean make or break for some youth entrepreneurs that just need that little bit of cash to get them over the next hurdle. We'll also be providing speaking slots to high-level events within the UN and within our partners. So you really get that increased visibility to get exposure for your business and the amazing impact that you're generating. And then I come back to the technical assistance. You will get a lot of amazing support from all of our partners once the awards have finished. This includes workshops, this includes mentoring, this includes one-on-one review of your business, your model, your plan, your revenue strategy. So really, really in-depth technical support to help you get to the next level. And as well, a ticket to Slush for each of the winners. So if you guys aren't familiar with Slush, it's one of the leading startup events in the world. And our partners at Ambitious Africa, one of which is a founder of Slush, has been so kind as to provide tickets to each of the winner. And we're even looking to see if we can get you there free of charge. So this is in the process. So these are amazing things for your business to take advantage of. I think we can continue on down the page. And just for you guys who aren't aware, all these pages are hosted on ITC's Yay Community of Young Entrepreneurs, which is a global community just for youth entrepreneurs like yourselves. So please join the community. You can access these pages there, but you can also take advantage of everything else that's happening on the platform. So finally, just to reiterate, who can participate in these awards? You must be majority owned by a youth ecopreneur. So that's someone under the age of 35. And you can see there the cutoff date is 30th July 1985. You must be legally registered in a developing or least developed country. Again, you have a full list there that you can review. And you must be offering a solution, a technology, product, service, or process in one of our award categories. So again, that's promoting renewable energy and energy efficiency, reducing and recovering waste, and ensuring efficient use of water. Just like Sophia, we're eager to hear from people who are maybe underrepresented, so minority groups, those who may be off the grid, those who are really building solutions that aren't often supported in these kind of awards, and women, as we've discussed. We heard you loud and clear, Rosette, but we do want to really encourage women because we see often in these awards that it tends to be all men. So if you're a young woman entrepreneur, you're more than encouraged to apply for these awards. Yeah, and then again, you have the award categories below, but maybe we can go quickly to the FAQ page where if you have a question, if there's anything we haven't answered in this session today, this is the page where you can turn to have your questions answered. So we've tried to address as many questions as possible here. So please review this page. And if you still don't see your question answered, you can always shoot us an email. We have our own email address, which is also shown at the bottom of this page. So Youth Ecopreneur Awards at intrasen.org. So I think that just about covers it. So once again, I'm hoping that one of my colleagues can share the direct link in the chat so you can immediately go ahead and apply. We can't wait to review all of your incredible businesses and hear what you guys are doing and how you're building impact in the green transition. And once again, happy International Youth Day. Thanks to everyone who joined for this event. We love your energy and we're looking forward to support you in these awards. So thanks everyone. And the awards are officially open for applications. So away we go. And Annegret, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Claire. Thanks a lot for your energy in launching these awards. I think this is also the energy that we would like to see over the coming weeks and months. And we really hope that we can mobilize a lot of applications for this and with really the aim to identify the businesses so that we can support them to really go to scale. So I know that we also want to do a small poll just among the participants of the panels of this session today, just to answer briefly where you would like to be further informed about the awards, about any upcoming things. So just now a poll should have popped up on your screen. Thank you for indicating your answer here. It should just take a couple of seconds. And yeah, while we are doing this, I would just like to say we're almost at the end of the session. Before, I would already like to thank all of our distinguished panel speakers here. We still see them here on the video. And actually, there is also one final question to each one of you. And that question, of course, also relates to your experience, if you have any, in participating in such kind of awards. And we would be actually really curious to learn from you whether you have any advice, any words of wisdom for how applicants to the awards can make their application stand out. So Sophia, Prince, Douglas, Rosette, any final sentence, any piece of advice? Who would like to go first?
I don't mind going first. Well, I think I've had this a lot, and you know, it's just a simple statement, and this is how it goes. You simply have to speak the language of the funder. It's really as simple as that. Understand what they're trying to achieve, and ensure that as you write your application, you speak to the objectives. That's very important. And as entrepreneurs, it's a challenge, you know, to understand another person's language, because you know you're so passionate about what you're doing, and you get lost in that. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Douglas. Very valuable. Who would like to go next? Maybe Sophia.
Yeah. Well, this was a really interesting time with all of you. Yeah, I encourage everyone to follow and to propose a new path, because now is the time, and the new ideas and a new way of doing things is needed to accomplish what we want for this planet. And now we all are together, and the answers are not are out. The answers are inside us, among all of us. So go with it, and thank you for create this Ecopreneur because I didn't heard before. Eco and entrepreneur was a good match. So yeah, here we are, everyone, for proposing solutions for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia, for these encouraging and inspiring words. Rosette, maybe?
I think I won't say much. My fellow colleagues really gave very good advice, but something I can add on what they gave as advice, and part of what I said earlier on knowing why you're doing something, and along the journey, though everything is not really clear, but along the journey you figure out how to do it. I can also add, I can say that the problem that we're facing currently is an opportunity for us as the youth to come up with innovative, or I can even say creative solutions. And I mean, let's get out of our comfort zone. Let's be out there, let's shout, let's, you know, use our energy. Because I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't start working right now, when are you gonna start working? So this is the right time, basically. And the last one is staying update, knowing what's on trend, because that's also something that people really ignore, because things are really changing on a daily basis. There's technology coming in, as my fellow colleague said. So being update and getting to know who is the right person to ask for help, that can also really help a lot. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for the platform, and thank you for the amazing time we've spent with you guys.
Thanks a lot, Rosette, for these words. And then our last speaker, Prince, over to you for a very final conclusion and advice.
So I think one of the key things I've noticed, back then I was giving applications over to, there was a special person that was in charge of applications, and it was always terrible. And so I would suggest that the founder or the person who started it can tell his story. There's no better way, although you can't put all the stuff together. Let him put in the first application, put it on a Word, then a grammar person can really look at it and review. And tell your story, have a story, tell a story, be authentic as possible. Don't be shy of being proud about your achievements, say it all out. nobody's gonna whip you for telling us what you've achieved. I think that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much, Prince, for this really practical advice on how to make your application really stand out. I think all of the participants here in the panel that want to apply, they would really appreciate, they are really appreciative of those kind words. So with this, yeah, let me close this panel. We're just 1 minute over. Really, thank you very much to all of you, all the speakers, Rosette, Prince, Douglas, and Sophia. It was really a pleasure having you, and thank you for sharing your inspiring stories. I'm sure that, yeah, they will echo in this entire ecosystem of the entrepreneurs. So with this, also thank you to our audience. Thank you to the team here that has organized the panel and the awards. And yeah, we hope to stay in touch with you over the coming months, where we will have applications, evaluations, and then also a final event where we also hope that you will come and see and the finalists that are going to pitch as part of the awards. So with that, thank you very much. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you again. Goodbye.
And happy International Youth Day, everyone.
Yes.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.